Welcome to our spoiler discussion of Shazam, and here we're going to be talking about more stuff that we didn't cover in our non-spoiler review. So Shazam actually starts out for the first time, and I think we've seen in a DC film where we actually start out with, the movie starts with our villain's backstory.
Yeah, our villain. That's actually the first time
I've seen it,
which kind of surprised me.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in this universe at least.
Yeah.
We have, basically the movie starts out where you have Mark Strong's character who's at a young age. He's in the 70s, and he's going on the road with his dad and brother. And what's funny is the guy who's driving his dad is played by John Glover. If you remember, he played off of Gremlins 2, and also in Batman and Robin as the
I was like, that's him.
Yeah.
It took me a while. I was like, I know that face, and then I remember in that building, I'm like, oh, that's fucking the dude from Gremlins 2.
It's almost like he's playing that same kind of character.
Yeah.
But anyway,
actually, he's more of a dick in this one.
Well, yeah, but anyway, there's something that happens where he ends up getting caught inside this he's using this little 8-ball thing that gets him like trapped inside this outer world, because everything goes like this weird snowy kind of aspect, which I thought that was great fucking cinematography right there.
It was.
And he ends up going to see this kind of wizard guy who's surprisingly played by Djimon Hounsou, who also played in Captain America. Captain Marvel, I'm sorry. Yeah. Which I'm like, that's weird. He's playing both movies here.
Yeah.
But he ends up getting called to get the power of Shazam, the powers of him to carry on the power, because the 7 deadly sins are causing basically destruction and everything, and it's up to him to take over. He needs to find somebody pure to take over the power.
Well, he's getting old, and he lost all his brothers, and he's weak by himself.
Yeah.
And you will know later when we get to towards the end why the new Shazam had to do what he had to do. But yeah, he's getting old and weak by himself. He needs somebody to take over, and he tries it out with Mark Strong's character as he's young, and the kid starts seeing, while that happened, the dark sins can speak, and they pretty much manipulate
They're like
him.
These weird gargoyle things.
Yeah,
they're the 7 deadly sins, basically.
Yeah, and basically they manipulate him to go after. There's this little blue ball that's really evil, that represents evil and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much to test the subject if he's gonna turn to the dark side or listen to Shazam, become the new Shazam, and be good.
Yeah.
And Mark Strong's character is young. He starts trying to go towards that manipulation. So the guy who's has the Shazam casts him out.
Yeah, and then because he doesn't have a pure heart, and so that's when he gets into this car ride that comes out of fucking nowhere.
It is brutal. It was nice in the photography, like the way it's slow motion with all the glass coming out.
I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, and not only that, his dad and his brother are kind of fucking mean to him too.
Yeah. So I that's actually a good start to get this villain going for this later down on the road.
So and now we go to present
time where we see Billy Batson, the boy in the film,
he's a little boy,
and he's a troublemaker who's been in an orphanage.
No, like when he's a little boy. It starts off when he's just a child.
Well, as a flashback when he was a child.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's later. But basically, he starts out where he's a kid trying to cause ruckus and stuff. He traps these 2 cops inside this pawn shop.
Yeah.
And he lures them there, and he locks it down, and then he tries to get on the radio saying that
well, no, what he's doing is he's looking at
his mother. Because we get to a flashback that shows that he was actually she got him this little thing that he wanted, this carnival, and it's like a little compass or something, and basically at a young age he ends up getting lost because it gets falling down.
It falls and he's after it, and they're in this big carnival, so he lost her in the crowd, and then that was basically it, and now he's on a mission. He's 13 years old, right?
About 14.
14.
Yeah.
No, 15. They said 15. Yeah. And he's been looking for his mom for so many years, and he's crossing out the names.
Asher Angel, that's the kid's name, who plays Billy. And he ends up having to go to this orphanage that's where he meets all these different other kids, and he doesn't really fit in with everyone else because he wants to try to look for his mom and stuff. And that's when we get also introduced to Jack Dillon, who, if you remember, he played Eddie from It, from the reboot. And just as the film goes along, he's starting to slowly get into, he's trying to get into school and stuff and things like that, but he feels like he's outside society, so he tries to run away and look for his mom. And while running away from these bullies that are trying to beat him up, he ends up going to that same realm that earlier that Mark Strong's characters went to, and the Rock of Eternity, and he ends up seeing Digimon Hanzu's character right there, and he ends up getting the power right there after he tells him that he actually is a pure of heart, and he needs the one to carry on his legacy. Yeah. So he ends up taking the power, and
we left out a part also where Mark Strong's character went back in there, and that's why he's weakened.
Oh yeah, that's right. So throughout the first half of the movie, we see that Mark Strong's character is basically trying. He's noticing that people that are actually having across the same the same thing. Yeah. Like there's actually people taking video of it and everything, and sharing it to him, and he's trying to figure out where it's all going, and he ends up getting there and tries to regain it, and he still ends up...
Well, he sees this code that he missed back whenever he was a little kid. He remembered codes, but he didn't get what they were for. And he sees it on this girl's alarm clock, and he uses that it's the final code to go through this door to the realm. He can open its door himself, and when she does, he comes in there and basically weakens the already weakened Dijon's Shazam needs to, he just can't fight it hardly anymore. And Mark Strong's character takes the blue ball we said the little boy was trying to grab. When he was a little boy, he was trying to grab. And this time he goes like in his eye. And, and it gives him the power of evil. All their gargoyles things go inside him. Now he's like very powerful. Yeah. And then basically... Shazam is running out of time, Dijon's Shazam, so he sees Billy, and that's where he gives Billy the powers. Yeah, and so that leads into also, basically throughout the rest of the film, it shows pretty much a montage of, it shows him like becoming pretty much Zachary Levi as an adult version, and it kind of becomes like big all of a sudden, where it's got a little boy trapped in a big guy's body. Yeah. Which is cool because throughout the film they do pay homages to shit like that, like Big and all them other movies, like the carnival scene and the little piano thing. Yeah. They do a lot. They do bring up Big silently throughout the film. You don't need which I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, he ends up coming back to the orphanage where he meets with Freddy, his friend, the kid from It, chapter 1, and he ends up having to go with him on trying to figure out his superpowers and stuff. And we get these scenes that are going. They're testing out like standard villains, like he's going to buy beer and then going to Titty Club. Yeah, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And then he's testing him and superpowers he fucking loses, he can't do, and some he can do. Yeah. Like the part where I like how like the Eddie kid fucking tricks him, like tells him, all right, can you disappear to another box, and then he writes it out and he goes, I'm gonna start on fire, see if he's fireproof on the thing, and lights up and didn't even know it. Yeah, like it's a funny fucking movie. I don't want to go into every detail, but it's such a blast. Yeah, and while this is happening, Mark Strong ends up getting pretty much payback to his brother family and his dad, and he goes into this boardroom scene, and after seeing that scene, I'm kind of like, they should have got him to play fucking Lex Luthor for some reason. I know, he is Lex Luthor looking. He does, yeah. But anyways, he goes in there and he basically throws his brother off a fucking skyscraper, kills him. And then he summons all these weird gargoyle things and starts killing everyone in the boardroom. Everybody, it rips this guy's head off. Yeah, I was like, damn. And then he's like, starts torturing his dad, and then like as he's walking out, he lets one of the gargoyle things eat his dad. Yeah, I was like, holy shit. But anyway, he ends up trying to steal. Oh, and that's when the gargoyle thing, one of the most powerful gargoyle things out of the 7 that's in him, tells him that he has to find the boy that was just chosen. Yeah. Yeah. And so he goes on a search for Shazam, and then basically throughout the film, Shazam is also trying to basically play out kind of like, if you ever seen Blank Man, he's trying to do like petty crimes, trying to solve and stuff, or he's trying to save people and everything, and he's trying to come up with different names and stuff, kind of like off of Blank Man. Yeah, he's like, I don't have a name yet, I'm called like Super Sparkle Man or something. Yeah, they trying to come up with so many names. Yeah, it's funny. And then basically he ends up having to save after some stuff goes down where he ends up trying to become kind of a show off to everyone and everything. He trying to make money off of it. Yeah, he ends up becoming distant from his friend, and that's when we get to this kind of emotional scene where he's actually
having to redeem himself because of all the ego that he has, basically.
Yeah.
And then we see that he has to go save this bus from being crashed because he accidentally flicks this lightning bolt, and he ends up having this train go off this ridge, and he saves it there, and that's when we get to see that Mark Strong's character comes in after he saves it, and they go in this big fight, which goes all the way to a mall, which was where that scene where we saw the fucking piano when they're going through.
Yeah, it's going through, like, they go through a ladies' changing room.
Yeah.
all kinds of fucking places.
Yeah.
And Mark Strong's just beating the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then...
Because you gotta think, Shazam's got, like, a mind of a 15-year-old, even though he's so strong, so he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And this guy, and it's for the first time, because while they're testing it, Shazam doesn't even feel no pain, nothing happen to him. And then he gets punched one time by Mark Strong. He's like bleeding from the nose and everything, and he can't breathe from the punch.
Yeah.
So he knows that he met his match.
Yep. And then basically the rest of it deals with him. Mark Strong ended up having to look for him after he finds out that Billy is friends with Freddy, and
the same orphanage.
The same orphanage and stuff, and he ends up going back, and he ends up taking Freddy back to the orphanage, and that's when we see that he basically takes all the other kids hostage.
Yeah, and basically what he's doing is he's after the powers. He needs Shazam's powers to pretty much destroy the Shazam family, because he's the last descendant of, and basically just gain all his powers. And so, he has to stop him before Shazam, can figure out who he really is.
Yeah, and then we get this final climax that takes place where after he ends up leaving from the orphanage, and this all ends up going to this carnival that we saw earlier in the film, and it's actually the same Well, before that, he ends up going back to his human form as the kid version of himself, and that's when we end up seeing that emotional scene where he actually finds his mom, because
he does.
He finds out from the kids from the orphanage.
Well, there's one of the kids at orphanage. He's a Chinese kid. He was able to do some extra hacking. Was able to connect that the mom went by a different name. That's why he couldn't find her.
Yeah.
And found out that his real dad was in prison.
Yeah, and then we get to this really emotional scene where he ends up going to see where his mom is actually around, and he sees her for the first time in years, and she tells him that she actually intended to abandon him. Because
could you imagine if they would have wrote Lex Luthor very right, and his dad was actually Lex Luthor that went to prison?
Yeah, that would be
like
cool.
just twisting things around just to make the story more interesting.
Yeah.
If they would have done something like, I mean, not anymore, because fuck, they had the worst fucking Lex Luthor ever chose.
Yeah, but if they had a better cast Lex Luthor, I could probably see that.
Yeah, like an older version, like Bryan Cranston or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, he finds his mom, and it's actually a pretty fucked up scene, because the mom pretty much, it's like a 50-50. Like, the mom wanted him to have a better life, but whenever the mom disappeared, the mom did find her son, but she walked away from him. Yeah. Because she found out her life was going down the fucking shitter. And you abandon your kid, and it's pretty sad to see. But it also made him, because we weren't bringing up that he has a hard time getting to really like his orphan family, and when that happens, he realizes they are family to me.
Yeah, which I thought was a great theme that they pulled on with this movie. Yeah. And because he realized that, he's had family the whole time, basically. Yeah. And he ends up going back, and that's when he ends up getting the final climax takes place, where he sees Mark Strong there taking him hostage and stuff, and then they end up going to have this, after some stuff goes down where he's trying to fight him there, they end up going to this carnival that was from earlier, and that's where we get that scene after they end up destroying, that's when he unleashes the gargoyles and they start wreaking havoc around there and shit. Yep. And basically it all turns down where in the end, after he's still losing for Mark Strong, he ends up going to try to give himself up, to give him up the power. And when he goes up to him, he pulls a trick.
He remembered Dijon was telling him a little secret thing that, talk about the family. His family is what made him all strong. Yeah. His family. And then he realized that, he can match, if 6 people, he remembered all the chairs that were empty. Yeah. And he was the 7th or something, as being Shazam, and he needed what was it, like 5 or 6?
I think it was 5.
5. He was the 6th one, and he needed 5, and perfectly enough, he had 5 orphan family brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
They're all able to put their hands on a thing and say Shazam with them.
Yep.
And they all turned into Shazam.
Which was funny because they actually got appearances from Megan Good, Adam Brody, and all them. And I thought that was really great that they got their own powers now. Yeah. And they end up having this climax where they're all learning their own superpowers, throwing one-liners and shit. It's fucking blast.
It is a blast,
and then we get to the final throwdown with him, Shazam and Mark Strong's character, and it kind of reminds me of scenes straight out of Man of Steel where Zod and Superman are fighting.
Yeah, they're flying through skyscrapers, going inside them, getting thrown around. Get this little boy playing Batman and Superman and just fighting each other, and next you know you see them two fighting. Yeah.
And then in the end, basically, he ends up finding a loophole where he can unleash the hidden sin that's inside, which is envy. Yeah. Because the weakness is that he has this glass eye, or this eye. His eye has the power inside.
That was that ball.
Take it out. So in order to take it out, he unleashes the envy out of him, and ends up just taking the. After he unleashes him, he ends up going to take his eye out with his lightning bolt.
Well, what happened is like earlier in the when they were in that realm. Whenever the kids were in that realm with Shazam, because there's a part we didn't really go into detail where they're in him and the kids go inside the realm.
Yeah, that's
and they're running around because Strong was trying to fight them inside there, and basically there's a scene where all the gargoyle things go out of him at one point, and one girl threw that Batman's ring thing at him and sliced him, and realized that if all of the gargoyle things leave him, he's weak.
Yeah, and
then when he gets them all out, he's able to rip the eyeball out.
Yeah, and that's what he does at the end after he unleashes the last one, and then he ends up taking him and catches him when he's about to go down, and then he ends up taking it out of his eye. Yep. And then all the things end up going back to that thing.
Yeah,
and then
they go into the realm and turn back to stone.
Yeah. Yep. And then basically they save the day, and they end up going back to their normal selves, and then pretty much it all ends where you got
well, there's a thing we also didn't bring up where Eddie's character from It, he's always getting picked on throughout the movie by these fucking bullies, and they're always picking on him and stuff. And there's this thing where he could have redeemed himself, and it was him showing people that he's friends with Shazam, and Shazam didn't show up because this is around the time when he was doing his ego was really high.
Yeah.
And basically didn't show up, and it embarrassed him, so everybody picked on him and beat him up and all that stuff for it. And then at the end, Shazam shows up to help him out, and he starts to gain his popularity, and they're all celebrating and all happy and stuff. And then next thing you know, you see fucking Superman come in.
And he's like, I brought my own friend.
And you just see Superman. Unfortunately, Henry Cavill is done. So as of right now, he's pretty much done. So they couldn't show above the head, but you see the suit come in.
Yeah, which I thought was really fucking cool. But, and then we
it's hard to be hyped at that when you know it's never going to go anywhere.
I know. Maybe he could come back. I don't know, but
far he says
in the credits they have like these weird comic book parts too that basically it's established that Shazam has now joined the Justice League, and he's doing like different shit like
he fucking stole Batman's mobile. And then he's getting going on a date with Wonder Woman and stuff, and him and Flash are racing,
and he's doing arm wrestle with fucking Superman.
Yeah.
So
I wish we would have saw they could have done more, man, but it's a shame that they won't go anywhere. But also, like we said in our non-spoiler review, this was probably one of the best DC Universe films, like in the current universe. I fucking had a blast with this movie. I'm so glad that they have finally got their game together, because they were coming back really good with Aquaman, but this was like on top of it. It's like getting better and better. It's like they're really pushing themselves together. I think it helps also that if they just focus on the solo films and kind of give the crossover films a little bit of a break, it probably will help a lot better. That's the thing that they did wrong. They went at it wrong. MCU was building their universe for quite some time, so they were able to do the crossovers. DC decided, oh, we want to make our own universe. They make one fucking movie, and then they fucking cross over the next fucking movie.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest shit. They should have never have done that.
I get why they wanted to go that route.
Well, they wanted Rush to be on fucking par with them.
Yeah.
But just could have calmed down, wait, let Marvel have their turn, then your guys' turn will happen. No, they were like, well, they're getting ready to be on their fucking, the highest phase yet. We got to get there quick.
Yeah,
that's why they're where they're at.
I feel like they're really getting on the next step now with their current movies, and now even though it's outside of DCU, it's now even got me excited for Joker coming out. So with that being said, like we said in our non-spoiler, I'm going to give this Shazam a phenomenal grade on the Film Phreeks meter. This would definitely be in my top 10 best of the year.
Yeah, Shazam is a phenomenal grade as well for me. It's probably going to be making my top 10. I haven't had a top 10 DC universe in this universe since probably Man of Steel.
Fair enough. And for those of you who have also seen Shazam, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. And check out some other reviews here and our website at filmphreeks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.